Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session of the Montgomery County Council. This morning, we begin with a presentation, a proclamation recognizing Minority Health Month by Councilmember Sales, Albanaz, and Council Vice President Jawando. And I just want to note that Councilmember Albanaz and Lukey are joining us virtually today.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. If you are here for, if you are here for the Minority Health Month proclamation, please join us here. All right, so as everyone is making their way up to the front, I just want to thank you all. Yes, make your way in. I want to thank you all for joining us for the Minority Health Month proclamation. I am Councilmember Lori-Ann Sales and the lead for eliminating disparities in public health. So I am honored to be joined by my two colleagues, Council Vice President Jawando, who chairs our Education and Culture Committee, and Councilmember Albornoz, who is joining us virtually, who chairs our Health and Human Services Committee. Although Montgomery County is proud to be recognized as one of the healthiest counties in the nation, we still face significant economic and racial disparities in healthcare, as evidenced by some concerning statistics. For example, nearly 1 in 6 residents rely on Medicaid for healthcare services, benefits that are currently at risk at the federal and state levels. Black babies are more likely than babies of any other race to have low or very low birth rates, and our Hispanic population has a higher preterm birth rate than white residents. These are key risk factors that contribute to infant mortality. The Montgomery County 2024 Community Health Assessment found that nearly a third of Hispanic or Latino residents were only sometimes or never able to get health care when needed, compared with 7% of non-Hispanic residents. The same assessments found that people who identified as agender, gender fluid, non-binary, or transgender were more likely to consider access to medical care challenging or somewhat tricky. These disparities stem from broader systemic social issues like food insecurity, lack of housing, and economic instability. Nonetheless, Montgomery County is committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion despite federal threats to these values. We will continue working collaboratively to care for our community together. I want to recognize everyone here today who shares our mission, especially our 3 minority health programs. The Latino Health Initiative, the African American Health Program, and the Asian American Health Initiative. And amazing. Today, we reaffirm our commitment to ensure access to quality health care and preventative services, including gender-affirming care. I look forward to working together to improve healthcare access and outcomes for all residents through a racial equity and social justice lens. And now I want to welcome my Council Vice President colleague, followed by Councilmember Albornoz and our special guest speaker, Dr. Ngozi Wexler, an obstetrician at MedStar Hospital, who will discuss her work on maternal health disparities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Sales. Good morning, everyone. Happy April, and happy National Minority Health Month. I'll be brief and be additive. There's a lot going on right now, and whether it's mental health, whether it's physical health, whether it's social emotional health, we know that in our communities, communities of color, the toll is bigger, it's deeper, it's more systemic. I was on a panel this weekend at there's a great play at the Only Theater called Sleepover. You should go see it. It's there for a couple of weeks. God bless you. It's about 3 or 4 young women who are all from the Black diaspora, different parts of the diaspora, and they're talking about all the many issues impacting them at their first ever sleepover. They're teenagers. And one of the things that they came up and brought up was, how do you present to go out to the world every day? What do I do with my hair? How do I get up? What do I wear? How are people going to perceive me? It's one of the many, many things impacting the mental health, the physical health of people of color. There's a long list. You heard some of the medical diagnoses, but it's one of the reasons that this council, I authored a resolution a couple of years ago declaring racism a public health crisis. When you see your neighbors being rounded up without due process, when you see people being fired for no reason, when you see people who are supposed to protect our public health being fired. Just today, people showed up at FDA and their badges didn't work. 10,000 HHS employees. I'm proud that we're in a county where we care about everyone's health. And so we have to double down and say that we recognize these systemic and institutional factors that lead to worse health outcomes for our communities of color. And then we have to play to our strengths and make sure we support. And that's what our health programs do. So I really appreciate Councilmember Sayles and all of her work on this. I'm proud to be on a council and in a county that recognizes that this is important work, because we're healthier as a community. That's good for everybody. Turn it over to my colleague virtually and chair of the HHS committee, Councilmember Albornoz.
Well, thank you both. And in a bit of irony, I am homesick today and not able to join all of you, but that is an all-star group that I see on my screen before me, and we're going to need all of you to help us get through what we know is going to be yet another challenging time. We cannot go backwards, and during these disorienting and frustrating and frankly enraging times, I've lost a lot of sleep. I'm sure a lot of you have as well, but what has gotten me through these difficult times is the knowledge that we have such a strong public health infrastructure here in Montgomery County. And if you look back on COVID, as difficult and as tragic as that time was, think about the innovative practices that were born out of that really difficult time. We were able to establish the Office of Food Systems Resilience, the Black Physicians Network, our hubs, and each of our African American Health Program, Latino Health Initiative, and Asian American Health Initiatives did some groundbreaking work and significantly expanded their reach through some really strategic thinking and partnerships. So we're going to need all of that and more to make sure that, again, we don't go backward and we move forward. But I am proud, as Chair of Health and Human Services, and also for 12 years as the Director of Recreation, I'm intimately familiar with our public health infrastructure here in Montgomery County. And I want to thank our colleagues in HHS and our public health team, who are all-stars in their own right. Thank you all so much for your dedication and commitment, and we look forward to partnering on so many more opportunities moving forward. Thanks.
All right.
There you are.
Come on, doctor. All right.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for inviting me. I'm Ngozi Wexler, the Chief Medical Officer of MedStar Montgomery Medical Center. MedStar Montgomery is one of 10 hospitals at MedStar Health. MedStar Health, provides services across Maryland and D.C. And as Chief Medical Officer and an OBGYN physician, the issue of decreasing severe maternal morbidity is something that is very near and close to my heart, especially when we have racial disparities in this arena. And my colleagues and I are very passionate about closing those gaps and decreasing disparity for all. At MedStar Health, we recognize that the ongoing maternal health crisis affects not only our county, but our state and our nation. And severe maternal morbidity, which you will normally hear us refer to as SMM, disproportionately impacts women of color. And at MedStar Health, we choose to be bold in taking decisive action to ensure equitable care and safer outcomes for all of our mothers. Regarding our strategy for change, MedStar Health has built an operational infrastructure for health equity that is fully integrated in our clinical governance framework. We focus on reducing healthcare disparities, of course, in severe maternal morbidity, but also in all other areas of medicine. We really work with our colleagues to optimize health equity data collection We ensure equitable care delivery, and we address unmet social needs. Our action plans to improve maternal health is very comprehensive. We're tackling postpartum hemorrhage, which we have identified as a key driver in severe maternal morbidity, through safety event reviews in every single postpartum hemorrhage case that we have in our labor and delivery units. We also provide expert oversight in this area to improve our clinical protocols to ensure we have good outcomes for all of our patients. Our initiatives that we've been implementing recently include implementing Code OB hemorrhage activation protocols. I'm sure you're all aware of Code Blues. We now have Code OB and Code OB hemorrhage to make sure that we are ensuring that rapid response to emergencies. We are expanding the postpartum hemorrhage simulation drills in our hospitals to ensure that we have enhanced preparedness for all of our patients. We conduct risk assessments and pre-delivery timeouts for every patient to ensure we have that timely intervention for all. We've also increased access to iron infusions for patients who are pregnant in the pre-delivery time period, because ideally, if you decrease that risk of anemia by giving iron, then you don't have that increased postpartum hemorrhage that leads to all the bad outcomes when you do come into labor and delivery and it's almost too late. However, when you do come to labor and delivery, we're also doing things there. We're giving a medicine called tranexamic acid, among other medicines that help to constrict the blood vessels to decrease that risk of bleeding, despite all of the things that may put you at risk. Now, recognizing that collaboration has to happen not only in our small hospital, but across all our MedStar entities and our outside of our MedStar hospital walls, we work with other MedStar hospitals to share our protocols, our best practices, our clinical policies. We share information with each other, and we ask each other to look through our records to make sure we did the things right. But I'll be remiss without giving good credit to our community partners beyond our hospital walls. We recently, actually, we had a meeting yesterday with the American African American Health Program, SMILE program, to see how we can engage with our colleagues there to get caseworkers to come to visit our patients in their homes during pregnancy and up until 1 year after delivery to make sure that no patient is left behind. We are also partnering with the MD Mom program and those initiatives to help decrease the risk of hypertension. We're providing education on implicit bias. We are also working to make sure that patients have access to donor breast milk if they choose to give breast milk to all their babies. I would be remiss if I didn't also recognize the excellence of others who have worked diligently and tirelessly with me to make sure that we're making all these changes. And so I would like to give some kudos to the chair of our OBGYN department, Dr. Sujitra Jairaj, the vice chair of our department, Dr. Amy Blunt, director of quality and safety, Linda Sue, and our director of risk management and patient safety, Caroline Frazier, and of course our nurse director, because we can't do it all as doctors. We need our nurse colleagues too, Dina McDonald. They have really owned this problem locally and really taken it by the horn, and have really worked hard to make sure. And so I'll just end with this final, note that at MedStar Montgomery and at MedStar Health, we are committed to ensuring that every mother, regardless of background, receives the highest standard of care, regardless of where they might live, what they might earn, or what the color of their skin is. And together, we are shaping a future where maternal health disparities will truly be a thing of the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ngozi. And I would be remiss if I didn't let our expert attendees introduce themselves as well briefly.
Hi, I'm Mayur Modi with the American Diversity Group, Executive Director and also steering member of Asian American Health Initiative.
Hi, my name is Juan Deng and I'm with the Maryland Vietnamese Mutual Association.
Hi, my name is Nguyen Nguyen. I am the Vice Chair of the Asian American Health Initiative Steering Committee.
Ngazi Wexler, Chief Medical Officer, MedStar Montgomery Medical Center.
Jackie Williams, Co-Chair of the African American Health Program Executive Committee, the board.
Dr. Pat Grant with the African American Health Program.
Marcela Campoli, Co-Chair for the Latino Health Steering Committee.
Good morning, James Bridgers, the Director of the Department of Health and Human Services.
Good morning, Dr. Keisha Davis, County Health Officer.
Good morning, Ana Mejia with the Welcome Back Center program of the Latino Health Initiative.
Good morning, Ingrid Lizama, Latino Health Initiative. Good morning, Karen Bernal with the Fetal and Infant Mortality Review Board.
Good morning, Angeline Bell with the Babies Born Healthy Program.
Good morning, I'm Crystal Trent-Paltre, nurse with the Babies Born Healthy Program.
Good morning, Dr. Nina Ashford, Chief of Public Health Services.
Buenos días, Mariana Serrani, Manager of Latino Health Initiative.
Good morning, Monica Martin, Chief of Behavioral Health and Crisis Services at HHS.
Good morning, buenos días, Roberto Garza Rodriguez with the Latino Health Initiative.
Thank you so much. We're going to read the proclamation now. And Councilman Robinaz will handle it for you here.
All right. Whereas National Minority Health Month highlights the disparities in premature death and illness affecting racial and ethnic minority groups. In Montgomery County, one of the most diverse counties in the United States, it's crucial to offer healthcare services and resources that reflect this diversity. And
whereas this year's theme, Advancing Commitments to Eliminate Health Disparities, highlights the importance of improving healthcare systems and ensuring equitable access to resources for all residents. And
whereas while Montgomery County ranks among the healthiest counties in the United States with high vaccination rates, more healthcare providers per resident, longer life expectancies than state and national averages, lower rates of disconnected youth, and preventable hospital stays, these benefits are not evenly experienced across all populations in the county due to health disparities impacting communities of color in Montgomery County. And
whereas health disparities are evident in various conditions, with higher cardiovascular disease and maternal morbidity rates among African Americans, and increased diabetes rates in Native American, Hispanic, and Black populations. Mental health issues often go untreated, and access to health care is limited for low-income and rural communities. Additionally, Black and Hispanic populations face higher cancer rates, asthma prevalence, and obesity rates, and are disproportionately affected by HIV and AIDS, highlighting the need for targeted interventions. And
whereas we remain committed to achieving the tenets of Healthy People 2030 to eliminate health disparities and create fair opportunities for people to live healthy lives by investing in cultural competency, research, innovation, community engagement, and a holistic view of healthcare to enhance services and meet the needs of our increasingly diverse community. And
whereas safeguarding access to essential health services, including gender-affirming care, reproductive health, and preventative screenings, must prioritize residents with disabilities, members of our LGBTQ+ community, veterans, racial and ethnic groups, and other marginalized populations, ultimately aiming to enhance health outcomes for these communities. And
whereas Montgomery County is committed to cultivating academic diversity in the healthcare system and medical professions, addressing the social and structural determinants of health disparities, and partnering with local providers, community and faith-based organizations, minority health programs, and individuals to promote equitable health care and eliminate health disparities in under-resourced communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby recognizes Minority Health Month as a critical month to further progress on reducing global and local health disparities for minorities, presented on this first day of April in the year 2025. By Council Members Sales, Albornoz, Vice President Jawando, and President Stewart. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everyone who joined us this morning for that proclamation. Thank you so much to Council Member Sales, Albanaz, and Council Vice President Jawando, and for all the excellent work going on by my nonprofit partners and our Department of Health and Human Services. Now we'll move on to general business. Madam Clerk, will you please share today's announcements?
Good morning. Thank you. Public hearings on the proposed FY26 operating budgets and FY26 to 31 public services program and fiscal policy for the Montgomery County government, Montgomery College, Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, WSSC Water, and Montgomery County Public Schools will be held on Monday, April 7th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. and on Tuesday, April 8th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. Those wishing to provide testimony in person or virtually must register in advance via the Council's website. Written, audio, and video testimony may also be submitted via the Council's website. Also, as Council President Stewart previously announced, Council members Albornoz and Lutke are attending today's meeting virtually. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. The minutes from the March 4th and 11th, 2025 Council sessions, March 5th, 2025 Bethesda Downtown Minor Master Plan Amendment, and the March 10th, 2025 State Legislative Session have been circulated to colleagues for approval. Are there any objections to approving these minutes? Seeing none, the minutes stand approved. Next, we will sit as the District Council for action on Sectional Map Amendment H-153 to implement the approved and adopted 2024 Great Seneca Plan, Connecting Life and Science. As Ms. Dunn comes to the table, I will turn it over to Chair Friedson of the PHP Committee.
Thank you, Madam President. Happy to just turn it over to staff on this one.
Great. Good morning, Council. As you know, the Council approved the Great Seneca Plan, and it's been a few months. Typically following that, we do get a sectional map amendment. It implements all of the zoning changes that the Council has previously approved in that master plan. So this is very administrative action for the Council today. Public hearing was notified. It was held. There were no speakers for that public hearing. So there is no discussion about any potential changes to the sectional map amendment as presented to you today.
All right, I am not seeing anyone with any questions. Is there a motion to approve Sectional Map Amendment H-153?
So moved.
Council Member Friedson moved. Do I have a second? Council Vice President Jawando second. This is a roll call vote, so I'll turn it back to the clerk.
Councilmember Lutke?
Yes.
Councilmember Lutke votes yes. Councilmember Mink?
Yes.
Councilmember Mink votes yes. Councilmember Sales?
Yes.
Councilmember Sales votes yes. Councilmember Friedson?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedson votes yes. Councilmember Glass?
Yes.
Councilmember Glass votes yes. Councilmember Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Katz votes yes. Councilmember Albornoz?
Yes.
Councilmember Albornoz votes yes. Councilmember Fani Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fani Gonzalez votes yes. Councilmember Balcom?
Yes.
Councilmember Balcom votes yes. Councilmember Jawando?
Yes.
Councilmember Jawando votes yes. Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart votes yes.
Great. All right. That is the sectional map amendment. Now we're going to move on to item number 2, which is a work session and a straw vote on the Bethesda Downtown Minor Master Plan Amendment. I'll turn it over to Councilmember Friedson and then over to Council staff.
Thank you, Madam President. Appreciate it. We're taking up the Minor Master Plan Amendment in Bethesda. Fortunately, we're not in the pouring rain. For those who joined the bus tour of the plan area, it was quite an ugly day, but good thing is that there are beautiful things happening in Bethesda as a result of the 2017 plan. This is essentially an update to that plan, limited in scope and in its nature. I'll just hit a few highlights of things that we did and then turn it over to staff to walk us through the packet and can add in any clarifications if needed. And then at the end, we'll be taking up and I will move to make one slight adjustment to language that came in from the Maryland Department of Transportation. that's been reviewed by both council staff and by planning staff. And we think, and they think, and are recommending, as was shared with colleagues, that it is a good approach to be able to leverage WMATA and Maryland State Department of Transportation, as well as our county transportation officials as well, which we'll talk about in a moment. But essentially, what we've done, this minor master plan amendment as recommended by the planning board lifts the density cap. It requires, and we added a 5-year comprehensive review to understand the cumulative impact of development and progress toward the master plan vision, which was a significant request from stakeholders, including the implementation committee. We are increasing the park impact payments as recommended by the planning board. We're adding in specific and significant language reflecting a recreation center as a major public benefit and trying to move forward in that direction. There's a lot of buy-in in the community, as you heard at the public hearing for that. Address privately owned public spaces, also known as POPs, to ensure that these assets are not viewed equally to publicly owned spaces, but they are given credit because they do provide a benefit, and included language in that. Also included language on affordable housing consistent with recent master plans, specifically related to the retention of naturally occurring affordable housing. And we provided flexibility on funds for public art to leverage partners at Bethesda Urban Partnership and the state designated arts districts so that funds can be directly shared with those organizations that are actually the implementers in this plan area of public art. A number of other areas that we covered, but I think those were the main highlights that I just wanted to point out. I also think it's important, and just wanted to point out in the packet, you'll note there's a fiscal impact, and the dynamic here as reflected is the net benefit of what has occurred in Bethesda to the public costs versus the private investment and the public benefits, and the net positive impact, including the cost of public spaces and schools, is a net positive of $17 million. So we're coming out ahead here as a county. The community is coming out ahead generally, but there's a lot more that's been committed in this plan, particularly in terms of public open spaces and the parks, as well as the recreation center. And hopefully this minor master plan update will help move us in the direction of delivering some of those public benefits, as well as Bethesda has seen significant amount of private investment, particularly over the last several years since the 2017 plan was approved. So with that, let me turn it over to Ms. Dunn and just express my appreciation to Chair Harris and to Elza and the team for all of your work on this, and council staff, Mr. Kenny, Ms. Dunn in particular, for working together with the planning department to work through some of these issues that my colleagues on the committee who thoughtfully went through this, which I very much appreciate, were able to navigate some of these dynamics and help land us in a good place. So with that, let me turn it over to Ms. Dunn.
Good morning, and thank you. I just want to see if I also want to thank the planning department for collaborating with us and helping us get through our review of this with the Planning, Housing and Parks Committee, and see if you had any remarks before I get started.
I'll just be brief. I'm already here as chair of the Planning Board, Council President Stewart, members of the council. On behalf of the board and the planning staff, I wanted to recognize the hard work that council staff has done to get us to this point, and we're here today to answer any questions you may have. So thank you.
Great, thank you. So just to do a little stage setting, the staff report goes into more detail. We won't cover every word of the staff report here for the council, but just to note a few changes that have occurred since 2017, since adoption of the plan. Bethesda's grown both in population and jobs. The downtown population is now estimated to have increased to over 17,000 people, with over 1,700 new housing units that have been constructed. And approximately 4,200 new jobs have been created. This represents an increase of 12% over the 2017 employment. So as you can see, the area of the Bethesda plan has certainly been very successful in getting both population growth and job growth in the area. However, since the pandemic, the pace of that development has slowed considerably. According to planning staff, from 2017 to 2019, there were 11 site plans that were approved, with 8 projects being built or under construction within that following time frame, which was approximately 1.2 million square feet of development per year. From the 2020 to 2024 time frame, there were 14 site plans approved, but only 3 built or under construction, and averaging 600,000 square feet of development per year. So you can see that that has fallen off. But in light of that, this minor master plan amendment has come forward to the council because the original plan in 2017 did include a development cap. And that was designed to be a signal for review of the plan, review of the recommendations as it approached 32.4 million square feet. The bellwether for whether this should come to the council was at a 2 million square feet amount of development remaining under that cap, which was hit last fall. And as you know, the council then approved the planning department's work on this minor master plan amendment. Because that cap is really related to the adequate public facility analysis that was done for the initial plan and based on transportation, I'm going to turn it to Mr. Kenny, and he's going to cover the next section.
Thank you. So going into the recommendations of the plan, starting with on page 3 of the packet, the development level section. This is really the core recommendation of the minor master plan amendment. So the plan recommends updating the BOZ, the Bethesda Overlay Zone, to remove the cap on development imposed by the 2017 plan, affirming the ability of private development along with county investment and policies to deliver needed housing, jobs, and infrastructure improvements. This there's several layers of analysis that are included in the plan that were conducted by planning staff to reach this recommendation. The first was related to transportation, the ability of the current transportation facilities, or current and planned and scoped out transportation facilities in the plan area to handle future development. Because this is a lifting of the development cap, we don't know exactly how much development will come in over the lifetime of the plan. So planning staff prepared 3 different scenarios of development by 2045. So these are all beyond the current 32.4 million square foot cap. So these would be 11 million, 16 million, and 21 million square feet over the current cap. Basically that much more development by 2045. The transportation analysis here looks at 5 adequacy metrics that we use on all master plans. These are auto and transit accessibility, auto and transit travel times, vehicle miles traveled, VMT per capita, non-auto driver mode share, and low-stress bicycle accessibility. The analysis showed that all 3 scenarios resulted in increases to auto and transit accessibility and low-stress bicycle accessibility due to households and jobs being in closer proximity within the plan area. Scenarios 1 and 2 show an increase in VMT per capita, while scenario 3 shows a decrease as more people choose not to drive due to longer travel times. And all three scenarios show little change in non-auto driver mode share. And auto and transit travel times increase in all scenarios as more people are traveling into the policy area for work. There was additional analysis conducted on school and carbon impacts. The school impacts show enrollment increases over the course of the plan, by 2045, under all 3 scenarios, all of which remain under the surpluses, at or under the existing surpluses within the Bethesda Chevy Chase cluster, indicating adequacy under this additional level of development. And the carbon analysis reflected as we see more development, a gross increase in carbon emissions, but a significant per capita decrease as building standards increase and become more eco-friendly, and the area achieves more density. There was one more element of this analysis, but just wanted to pause here to see if there's any discussion on those first three, given that there's some more nuance to that last one and changes made by the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. I am not seeing any questions.
Great. So the PHP committee recommends approving removing the limit on development, or the development level. However, included in that recommendation was a change to the last component of that section, which in the planning board draft is called measuring the cumulative experience of implementing the plan vision. The committee discussed this recommendation, which you can find on the bottom of page 4 of the staff report. The committee recommended a couple of textual changes in which we would change what is currently an element that would, quote, quantify the cumulative experience of change resulting from implementation of the plan vision, and change that to understanding the cumulative impacts of development and progress towards the plan vision, as well as changing the actual kind of crux of the recommendation from investigating approaches used in other jurisdictions and presenting them to the planning board as part of an upcoming annual monitoring report, changing that to undertaking a 5-year comprehensive review of the plan. This came out of a desire to sort of make this recommendation a little more specific and tangible, and provide some more guidelines on what exactly that 5-year review might look like. The committee directed council staff and planning staff to work on an outline of what this 5-year comprehensive review might look like based on the 10-year review of the White Flint Sector Plan, and to reach out to the Implementation Advisory Committee. This is not part of the master plan. The text of this the goal would be to include it in the attachments and some components in the BOS as well, and eventually working on this, coming out with a more fleshed out outline. And the plan would be to work on this at PHP at a future date.
Okay. Not seeing any other questions, or continue.
Great, thank you. So moving on to recommendation number 2, or the second set of recommendations. These are 5 recommendations for transportation and adequate public facilities. These are some minor targeted measures to address specific resident concerns with respect to loading and delivery management, as well as sidewalk closures, mostly directing MCDOT, DPS, and planning to work together on some loading management and curbside management elements. I will note that, as Councilmember Friedson brought up, we did receive a requested change in language to the last component of this, which is the study of transit support services. MDOT requests that the MCDOT, WMATA, and MDOT and other regional transit providers be more explicitly included in there, and that we should look at including existing and enhanced service, as well as bus layover capacity in that language as well. That language is included in the addendum to this staff packet on the agenda today.
Councilmember Friedson?
Yes, I have received the apologies for the late notice from MDOT, which we had hoped that this would have come sooner, but it is, I think, appropriate language to include. There is ongoing work that is occurring, particularly between MDOT and WMATA, and MDOT believes that this will help to strengthen their work and their efforts along with MCDOT with WMATA, and so that's why they think that it's quite important. It's not new, but it will strengthen what's already happening. The language specifically, and you have it in your addendum, is to support MCDOT, WMATA, MDOT, and other regional transit providers study and implementation of enhanced transit service connecting downtown Bethesda to nearby residential neighborhoods and regional activity centers, including expanded transit support facilities needed to accommodate existing and enhanced service, and then adding such as bus layover capacity. So it adds WMATA, MDOT, and other regional transit providers. It notes existing as well as enhanced service, and it adds bus layover capacity because bus layover capacity is something that they are actively working on and feel like this will help to strengthen their case. So with that, since the committee did not review this, since it didn't come in as a request until after, with the apologies from our state partners who admittedly and understandably are a little bit focused on the state legislative session and the state budget, I would move that we amend the committee recommendation to add this language.
Great. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Yeah, second.
Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez, second. Any questions regarding the amendment? Not seeing any. All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that is everyone. All right. Any other issues?
Not with that.
Okay.
So we're going to move on to the next section. Thank you very much. And this is has to do with the Recreation Center. And I know you're aware that there was language in the original plan wanting to emphasize getting a recreation center, and it was really focused on the Bethesda Regional Service Center site or around the metro station. So what the minor master plan amendment does is it adds additional recommendations related to that recreation center to really enhance the ability and to incentivize actually getting the recreation center throughout the plan area, so not just focused on these certain locations. Those recommendations are listed for the council on the bottom of page 5, and several of these recommendations will also be mirrored in the Bethesda Overlay Zone language, and you'll see that later. We cover elements of the Bethesda Overlay Zone also for you today in this work session because that overlay zone does implement the master plan, so they must work together. We're going to cover a lot of that later in this session, but briefly. So with that, the committee was unanimous in their approval of the board's recommendations for these recommendations related to the Recreation Center.
Great. We have a recommendation from the committee that we just amended, and not seeing any other questions or anything. Today we have a straw vote. So all those in favor of the Bethesda Downtown Minor Master Plan Amendment, please raise your hand.
Oh, we're not done yet.
Is it straw? Yeah, straw vote.
Oh, but we're not done with the whole thing yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I jumped ahead. My apologies.
Without objection.
Without, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, we could do without objection. Sorry. I thought we were
Yeah.
at the end. My apologies.
Yeah, also, I wasn't clear. But we do have a few more things to cover. So if you turn to page 6 of the staff report, the minor master plan amendment also addresses some of the implementation recommendations related to the parks. And the first was just a refinement of strategies that the parks should adapt to changing things related to Purple Line implementation or various things. The only sort of more material recommendation related to parks in this section had to do with the Veterans Park Civic Green. And I know that the council members that were on the tour did go to the site, did understand and receive a briefing from the Parks Department that it has been difficult to achieve getting the site to do the expansion of that park across Woodmont Avenue. And so the idea now is to make that Civic Green expansion adjacent to the existing Veterans Park. And so this minor master plan amendment recommendation is really just to recognize, one, that difficulty, and two, make it clear that further work to get the expansion of Veterans Park Civic Green will be adjacent to the existing Veterans Park. And then there were two other more minor ones, really about looking for alternative financing and to continue to seek advice from the IAC. And the committee unanimously supported those recommendations.
Okay, not seeing any questions.
Great. The next section is about the park impact payment itself. The 2017 plan and the Bethesda Overlay Zone, they created this park impact payment to help fund the acquisition and construction of parkland in downtown Bethesda. And to date, it's collected over $15 million. The amount that was paid initially under the Bethesda Overlay Zone, the rate established was $10 per square foot, with biennial adjustments based on the average of the prior 2 years' inflation of construction. The most recent adjustment approved by the board in 2023 was for $12.49 per square foot of Bethesda Overlay Zone density requested by a development application. But as the council's aware, you were brought the issue that the average was not really calculating sufficiently and accurately the amount of inflation adjustment needed, and this led the council to change to a cumulative methodology rather than the average, and that was approved in January of 2024. The minor master plan amendment recommends incorporating this new cumulative methodology, which would result in an increase to the park impact payment, making it $15.57 per square foot. It is a 25% jump. There were some community developers who were concerned with that jump, and yet analysis by planning staff had found that the higher rate would only increase development costs about 0.2%. And so with that, the committee recommended unanimously approval of the cumulative inflationary adjustment and the increase to $15.57 per foot.
Great. Councilmember Friedson?
Yeah, I just think it's important to note every time we talk about the PIP that this is intended to be additive. It's not intended to cover the full costs of all of the parks and open space in downtown Bethesda. There's no place in the county that is expected to capture the funding through development of their public open spaces. The idea was, in order to enhance what was already going to happen, the park impact payments would be a way to do that. So I just wanted to note that. I think it's important. I will reiterate that every chance that I get. Will never generate the revenues needed to fulfill the vision of the master plan through park impact payments, nor was it ever intended using this vehicle to do so. Having said that, there were some stakeholders who wanted this to be higher. There were some that wanted to be much lower. We accepted the planning board's recommendation, which seemed reasonable, but it is a significant jump at a time when, you heard in the beginning where development, which had gone significantly in the first few years of the adoption of the plan, has really slowed. So I just think it's something, again, as part of the monitoring. We want to see the public infrastructure. We also want to see the progress and the impact that some of these recommendations have, and that's why that comprehensive review that the committee supported and that the IAC had recommended is so important.
Okay, we continue.
Thank you. So it's a great segue into the next piece, which is that the planning board has recommended to help mitigate the impact of this higher cost on developers that the park impact payment be made in two payments. This is similar to other legislation you've recently worked on, which would, the first half would be due at the first building permit, and then the second half due at the first use and occupancy permit. And the committee unanimously supported this as well. Okay. And then there was another piece related to the park impact payment, to which Chair Friedson mentioned at the beginning. When land is dedicated for parks, the applicant who dedicates the parkland receives a reduction in their park impact payment to offset the value of that dedication. What the minor master plan amendment has recommended is that when an applicant is providing a privately, what is a POP again?
Privately owned public space.
Privately owned public.
POPs.
So when,
not the singing groups.
Right. When developers are providing POPs, they should also receive a discount in their park impact payment, but it shouldn't be at the same level of discount received by somebody who is providing a dedication. And so there is language for you on page 7 of the staff report that the committee has recommended that just clarifies that. The minor master plan amendment suggested that it should get a discount. We wanted to make sure that it was clear to the public that the amount for dedication would be more than the amount provided for a POPs, and more specific language will actually appear in the Bethesda overlay zone, and that'll be sometime in the future.
Right. Councilmember Friedson?
Yeah, I just wanted to note and reiterate the fact that we'll take up the BOS later, and that's where we'll have more specifics. We actually talked about what those specifics could look like. Planning and council staff are working through that with Parks and the Parks Department to work through that to make sure that it reflects the overall plan, but is consistent with what the Parks Department is looking for. So we wanted to talk about them together, although the more specific language will come up subsequent to this effort when we take up the BOS. But this language kind of sets the stage for that, and we'll take it up then.
Okay, awesome. Okay, the next section is affordable housing. Affordable housing was a key priority in the 2017 plan and continues to be that. The minor master plan amendment has made a recommendation to extend sort of the incentives that are in the 2017 plan. It has incentives to provide 17.5% MPDUs. It requires 15. It wants to extend the incentives for providing 17.5% MPDUs to projects providing 15% MPDUs if they are providing family-sized units that exceed the minimum number required under Chapter 25A, and or they are providing deeply affordable units as defined by DHCA. So it's recognizing that while the plan area has done really well in achieving a higher number of MPDUs in the area, I think over 400 MPDUs have now been constructed since the development of the 2017 plan. They want to see the next focus and the next incentive go to family-sized units as well as deeply affordable. So it just expands sort of the universe of the types of MPDUs that may be achieved in the Bethesda plan area, and the committee supported this unanimously. Great. The next recommendation, I think also Chair Friedson mentioned this in the beginning, recent master plans, the Veers Mill plan, the Silver Spring Downtown and Communities plan, Tacoma Park minor master plan, all included a recommendation to strive for no net loss of naturally occurring affordable housing. This minor master plan amendment also recommends that redevelopment of naturally occurring affordable housing sites in downtown Bethesda strive for no net loss within the larger redevelopment, particularly in conjunction with, again, receiving those larger family-sized and deeply affordable units. And with that, the committee supported that recommendation. Okay. All right. The next thing that was discussed was a recommendation related to the height incentive area. It's an area within the Bethesda plan area where additional height can be achieved for the provision of MPDUs. And there was a recommendation in the plan to expand that height incentive area in a certain particular part of the plan area. You'll see a map of that on page 10. It is to include blocks to the east of Arlington Road between Moreland Lane and below Montgomery Avenue. And the committee had conversations about this, and where they landed unanimously was that rather than in this process expanding the height incentive area at this time, to have language in the minor master plan amendment that recommends further study of the expansion of this area that could be addressed in a future zoning text amendment to the Bethesda overlay zone. That is where that change can occur. You don't have to reopen the master plan. Rather than making the change today, go back to the community with a little more input and propose this in the future.
Great. Councilmember Friedson.
Yeah, thanks, and appreciate colleagues for their indulgence on this, and also to Planning Director Sartori, who actually recommended us in adopting this language. I just want to give a little bit of context on this. The height incentive area was set in the master plan. When this was decided that we were going to move forward with the minor master plan amendment, the question came up of whether or not things like this would be addressed as part of this effort. At the staff level, it was not. It was considered and ultimately decided it was not. It was shared with the community that it would not be taken up as a result of that. When it went to the planning board, the request came in, the same request came in from an applicant who was interested in what is a relatively modest increase in height in order to achieve affordable housing. A request that was well received by the planning board, and ultimately the planning board agreed to accept that request and recommend it as part of this effort. The issue and the concern is that the community that was told that it wouldn't be included had no opportunity to weigh in because they had no idea that it would be included, and by the time it was included, it was already done. And so the concern that was made was, relative to process and whether or not, that was the most appropriate and reasonable way to move forward. By going through the BOS and including language that puts it out there and makes it clear that it will be something that will be looked at but not prejudiced as part of that, allows for a better process in order to move forward. So I just wanted to provide context. The committee didn't weigh in on whether this was a good idea or a bad idea related to these particular properties, which are essentially single-family home structures that serve as businesses, for the most part, and in many cases. And so, ultimately, that was the decision that was made, and it was very much a compromise recommendation by the planning director. So I just wanted to note that, which I appreciate. So thank you.
Okay. So the final section we have here is related, as I mentioned earlier, to the Bethesda overlay zone. You will take that up as a separate legislative item. Actually, the public hearing on that is later today. But because some of the recommendations for the Bethesda overlay zone that you'll take up are related to this minor master plan amendment, the overlay zones are really designed simply to implement a master plan. We want to cover them with you here because if you hear them for the first time during the overlay and you want to make a change to it, we would have to make sure that it was consistent with this master plan. So we want to give you the heads up here. We'll tell you what the committee agreed to, and that way when it becomes a review for the overlay, it is more of a perfunctory action because it is implementing something you have already reviewed. So with that, one of the first elements that is suggested to change in the overlay has to do with the requirement to purchase BOS density. Currently, the way it is stated in the 2017 plan is that before you can request additional density through the BOS and make a park impact payment to receive it, you must use all of your density, meaning total density. And we have properties that have a certain amount of commercial FAR given to them and a certain amount of residential FAR, and sometimes those amounts don't equal the total. So if you are going to move forward and you want to use BOS density, you are being required to do a mixed-use project to hit that total. What the planners have recognized is that it is more efficient and better for many and flexibility for the development community if they only have to use the total of either their commercial or the total of their residential before asking for more BOS density. That would allow them to do a completely commercial project, request more BOS density for it, and make a park impact payment, or a totally residential project and do the same. So it's really a flexibility issue, and the committee recommended unanimously approval of that recommendation. The next has to do with called a use it or lose it provision, which really had to do with the cap. We wanted to make sure that as development moved forward under a cap, nobody was going to hoard density, get an approval, and then sit on it. So there were timeframes related to moving forward. Without a development cap, those timeframes, that very strict timeframe is less important. And it's important to note that there is an adequate public facilities timeframe already associated with every development that gets approved in the county of 5 years. And so with that, the committee also recommended approval. The next has to do with public benefit points. Currently now, to promote sustainability and energy efficiency in new construction, the BOS requires buildings in a designated high performance area to achieve 15 public benefit points from energy conservation and generation. To achieve this, buildings must exceed the energy efficiency standards for that building type by 17.5% for new buildings, or exceed it by 10% for existing buildings. However, since the 2017 plan was approved, the Council has worked to adopt ever more efficient building and energy codes, which make the BOS stretch goal requirement exceeding the higher efficiency standards very difficult to achieve. And so what the minor master plan amendment is recommending is an update to the BOS language to change the requirement for achieving the 15 points to making it exceed the amount that is currently required rather than a certain percentage. And with that, the committee supported that recommendation. The next one has to do with the incentive zoning update. This is more sort of administrative in sense. It is not really substantive, but it basically is coordination language. It says that as the council goes through and makes changes, and you will be receiving a zoning text amendment to implement the incentive zoning update. Council was briefed on it over the winter. That whatever happens with that incentive zoning update recognizes how the BOZ has been set up and what the goals of the minor master plan and master plan are, and so is done in concert with that and recognizes what's trying to be achieved so that those things work together. Of course, the committee agreed with that. The next is public art, and in the BOZ overlay zone, there is a maximum benefit for public art that had been increased from traditionally it's 15% in the code to a 20% in this plan area. And the Public Art Steering Committee is the entity that can accept a fee for public art. What this recommendation in the minor master plan does is it extends that to say that the Bethesda Arts and Entertainment District, the Bethesda Urban Partnership, these other entities can also accept a fee to provide public art in the downtown Bethesda. The committee, yes, of course, recommended approval of that. The next two are minor modifications to the BOZ overlay zone to provide incentives for the new recreation center. One is that it could accept a payment in lieu based on the new recreation and civic building, and also to make it a major public facility priority. And the committee recommended both of those. And then last, there was language related to expanding tree canopy in downtown Bethesda, also another just supportive recommendation that suggests to build on incentive programs that exist to help incentivize more trees in the downtown area. And with that, the committee also recommended approval.
Council Vice President Jawanda.
Thank you. Appreciate all the work and my colleagues on the committee. Just wanted to emphasize something I emphasized in committee, that the comprehensive the 5-year review of the plan is just a really important feature here, and that working with the community who worked really hard, the group worked really hard to come together with recommendations, remove the cap, did a lot of what planning has suggested, but want to make sure that the PIPs and the POPs deliver what the open space that we want, and that we're reviewing it in a real thorough way at the committee and at the council to make sure we're getting what we need. So really appreciate work on that, and just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
And just quickly note on March 21st, the PHP committee received a fiscal impact statement on the minor master plan amendment. That is attached to the council's staff packet today. It's largely around transportation investments based on different development levels.
And with that, we've covered it, so now you can take the straw vote. Oh, and I'll just mention that after the straw vote, everything will get updated, and a resolution that implements any of these changes that the committee has recommended, and you've seen the draft language for, will be posted tomorrow for the community so that we can take action next week.
Terrific. Well, thank you, Ms. Dunn, Mr. Kenny, and representatives from the planning department and planning board, and my colleagues on PHP for their excellent work. And I was part of the field trip, the tour, and I appreciated that. We could have done without so much rain, but it was very helpful, as it always is when we're dealing with master plans or minor master plans, to be able to go out and actually see it. So I appreciate everyone organizing that for us. I'm not seeing any other questions, so now we will take a straw vote on the master plan. We had a recommendation from the PHP committee. We adopted an amendment today during session, so all those in favor, please raise your hand. And now that is everyone. All right, thank you very much. The final vote on the plan is expected next Tuesday, April 8th. All right. Thank you. I think Ms. Dunn, you're staying there, and we now have the semi-annual report from our Montgomery County, our Maryland National Park and Planning Commission. So I think folks are going to make their way up. I think we're just trying to get the PowerPoint up. I think we're ready. If we have Chair Harris, I just want to say that thank you to Planning and our parks for coming to do this semi-annual report. This report is always something we look forward to on the council, particularly those who do not serve on our PHP committee because we don't get to see you as often, though many of us work with you and the full planning board. And I see we have also our vice chair here. Thank you for attending as well. And today I just want to say that, you know, given where we are in our community and in our country, I think the responsibility and the work that we do together on planning our communities, making sure our residents are heard and part of that conversation, and making sure it is all of our residents, and that we are continue to center equity and social justice in our communities, particularly when we're planning for it, is something that Montgomery County feels strongly about, and that we will continue to feel strongly about, and will not just feel strongly about, but will work towards those goals. It has always been a privilege to work with our planning department, our planning board, and parks in sharing that, and I hope we continue as we work together to share those goals and make them a reality in our community. And so I look forward to hearing about the semi-annual presentation today and then opening up for questions. So Chair Harris, I'll turn it to you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Council President Stewart and members of the council. Thank you for this opportunity to share highlights of the planning board, the planning department, and parks' most recent accomplishments and updates on our ongoing efforts to make Montgomery County the premier destination to invest in, live, work, play, and thrive. We have so much to highlight in planning and parks, so I'll be extremely brief in my remarks to give Directors Sartori and Figueredo more time to dive into their departments. I know we will have an opportunity later this month to review our budget in detail with you, but I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to highlight the critical need of financial resources for our work. We are your departments, and I thank each of you in advance for working to ensure we have the resources we need to keep doing our work. On March 14th, you received the county executive's recommended fiscal year 26 operating budget. Our budget was cut close to $8 million from our requested funds. We knew going into this budget season that it would be a tough year, and our requested budget was already primarily a maintenance of service budget. These cuts, however, will keep us from fully funding compensation and major known commitments. Therefore, your support is greatly needed during the budget process to make sure we have sufficient funding for our work. We are proud to serve as a resource for you and all the residents of Montgomery County, and hope that we are able to continue our work at the level of quality and service everyone has come to expect. Housing has been and continues to be the top priority for the Planning Board. The housing shortage is a present-day and future crisis affecting our county, state, and community.
Gaps in the curriculum. Before moving on, I did want to also note that if any council members would like to receive a briefing, or your staff on the Community Planning Academy, we'd be happy to schedule one of those. Another project that we are currently pursuing, as Chair Harris mentioned, is our development pipeline analysis. This effort emerged from our work with the PHP committee last year on local housing targets. Through that effort, we learned that only 50% of the units in our pipeline 6 years earlier had come to fruition. We also learned that this varied widely depending on different parts of the county. So we've also heard from a lot of people who have suggested that the solution to our housing crisis is advancing projects in the pipeline. And at planning, we acknowledge the role that the pipeline can play in helping meet our housing goals, but also know that the current pipeline of approved projects will not meet our county's diverse housing needs alone. Nevertheless, we want to better understand the pipeline and the obstacles preventing individual projects from moving forward. As of this January, the pipeline included 278 unexpired approvals, accounting for more than 29,000 units. About 88% of those in the pipeline are in multifamily rental projects. So over the next 5 months, through a variety of methods, including data analysis and applicant surveys and interviews, we will build a better understanding of the pipeline. We will uncover barriers to moving projects forward, whether they are regulatory requirements, market conditions, the availability of financing, or something else. And we will identify high-level solutions for the council to consider exploring. Here are some more details. Next slide. Here you go. More details on the current pipeline showing the location of pipeline projects and how many projects and units were approved in 4 different time periods. Using those same time periods, the next slide identifies the largest projects in terms of the number of units in each of those time periods. So these include the Tasty Diner site in Silver Spring, the Westfield Montgomery Mall, the remaining unbuilt but approved units at Pike and Rose, and the Geico site in Friendship Heights. A related tool currently available to the public on our website is our development dashboard, and it's been on our website since 2023. It provides a way to learn more about development plans, dwelling units, and commercial square feet that have been approved since 2010. Here you can see the totals for 2024, which included nearly 500,000 square feet of commercial space and just under 2,900 units, which is more than we had in 2023, but continues to fall short of levels that we need to hit our housing target. In 2024, our regulatory teams reviewed 928 different applications to a decision. This includes a variety of applications from sketch plans, preliminary plans, and site plans to forest conservation plans, mandatory referrals, and record plats. It also includes 238 historic area work permits that are reviewed by 3 members of our historic preservation team, and 137 historic tax credit applications totaling more than $3 million in tax credits. I also want to highlight a few specific development projects around the county that made significant progress in 2024. On the left is a rendering of Park Montgomery in Long Branch. This project, which had a site plan approved by the Planning Board in 2022, had a minor administrative site plan amendment approved last November. The site plan adds up to 76 new units to the existing 141 units that are managed by Enterprise. The new building will be entirely affordable due to a 9% LIHTC credit, but is conditioned to maintain 15.5% of the units as MPDUs subsequent to expiration of the LIHTC restrictions. On the right is Sligo Apartments in Silver Spring, which is approved to include 98 multifamily units across 115,000 square feet and is currently under construction. This project is 100% affordable housing through LIHTC credits, and 24.5% of the units will remain as MPDUs when the LIHTC restrictions expire. Strathmore Square is a mixed-use development located on the Grosvenor-Strathmore-WMATA property. Phase 1 of the project was recently constructed as the Ravel and Royale, a building with just over 300,000 square feet, including 220 multifamily units, 15% of which are MPDUs, and 9,000 square feet of retail. In addition to the new mixed-use building, the project delivered a beautiful new 1.2-acre park, enhancing the new community with green space. On the right, the Logic White Oak is a residential development on Broad Birch Drive in Silver Spring. The property is located within the 2014 White Oak Science Gateway Master Plan area and is across the street from the new Montgomery College East County Education Center. Leasing has begun at the Logic, which includes 387 units, including 15% MPDUs. 359 of the units are within a traditional multifamily building, and 28 are 2-over-2 units, which is what you see in this image. The project underwent a streamlined speed-to-market review process and set aside 11% of the site as public open space. And last year, the Planning Board approved a major amendment to the Clarksburg Town Center. The amendment was primarily to remove previously approved office buildings and replace those with 2 residential and mixed-use buildings while still providing a much-needed and desired grocery store and opportunities for new retail and restaurant tenants. The project will be completed in one phase and represents the last remaining component of the Clarksburg Town Center community. We're really excited about that. Beyond our regulatory functions, our master planners have been hard at work creating comprehensive visions for neighborhoods around the county. We were thrilled to see the council's enthusiasm for the Bethesda downtown plan amendment this morning. I think that plan better aligns the county with county policies and priorities and ensures that downtown Bethesda remains the thriving economic engine and vibrant, complete community that we've come to enjoy. So thank you for your support for that plan this morning. The Planning Board is nearly finished with its review of the Master Plan of Highways and Transitways technical update and should be transmitting that plan update to the council this month. The board also recently held a public hearing on the University Boulevard corridor plan and is currently in the middle of its work sessions. We expect to send this plan to the council in June. The Clarksburg Gateway Sector Plan team just presented their emerging ideas to the Planning Board last week. We anticipate sending the board's draft to the council in November. The Germantown Sector Plan Amendment and the Eastern Silver Spring Communities Plan teams are both doing visioning with their communities as they work to develop their respective plans, and both of those plans will be coming to the council next year. Also coming to the council next year, the Friendship Heights Sector Plan recently had its scope of work and boundary approved by the board, and planners are meeting with the community to start getting feedback about the plan area. Also, recognizing the council's concern over recent federal government directives, I wanted to take a moment to highlight the federal workforce and federal leasing in Montgomery County. In 2023, approximately 70,000 Montgomery County residents worked for the federal government in the Washington metropolitan area. That represents 16.4% of the county's full-time civilian employed population at least 16 years old. In 2024, just under 76,000 people who may or may not live in Montgomery County, but 76,000 people worked at federal facilities in the county, and this is across 22 different departments and 50 agencies. 7 campuses provide most of the employment, with the largest employment at NIH, the FDA, and Walter Reed. And as of October of last year, the federal government leased approximately 7.7 million square feet of office space in Montgomery County, which is approximately 10% of the county's total office space. Leases for about 3.5 million square feet of that space will expire by the end of 2027. So obviously none of this accounts for the many private sector jobs and other public sector initiatives that rely on federal contracts or grants. We're working currently with the MCEDC to get a better understanding of that workforce and that data. Nevertheless, I wanted to provide you with this baseline information now so that you have it available to you. And I want to thank our research and strategic projects team led by Carrie McCarthy for pulling this together. And finally, I wanted to highlight a few key components of our FY26 budget request, which will obviously receive much more scrutiny over the coming weeks. First, as you'll recall from our last semi-annual, we recently completed a new strategic plan for the department in which we identified 149 actions across 26 strategies. The budget process presents an opportunity for us each year to implement the strategic plan, and so our budget request identifies the specific strategies or actions that each request helps achieve. On the screen, you can see now the new ongoing initiatives in our request, which includes 3 new positions. But I wanted to call your attention to the first item on the list, master plan support. This represents a new approach to funding our master plan efforts following guidance that we received from council members during last year's budget process. The prior approach required us to know exactly what we would need to conduct a master plan in a community and what it would cost years before we were intended to begin that effort. This year, establishing a base of ongoing funding for our master plan efforts will provide us with greater flexibility to meet the needs of each community as the plan process unfolds. This will increase our ability to invest more in engagement, on translation services, and on data analysis efforts as the needs arise in master plan efforts. This new approach would also ensure that master planning, a core function of our department, is not on the reconciliation list each year as new funding tied to specific master plans. The Council will continue, however, to determine which master plan efforts are added to our work program, and we will use the fall semi-annual each year to report details on how the master plan support funding was used the prior fiscal year, maintaining appropriate council oversight of our budget. And on this next screen, you can see our requested one-time initiatives. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about any of these projects or what you saw on the previous slide. But again, I want to because I know that there'll be opportunities to go dig deeper into these requests. I did want to, we're going to the planning board actually on Thursday with our non-recommended reductions to see how we can meet the county executive's budget. And while the planning department request was for a 5.7% increase, the executive only recommended a 4.5% increase to the MNC PPC admin fund that we're part of. However, the planning department's share of that only represents a 2.5% increase, so less than half of the increase that we had requested. If we need to reduce our cut or cut our new initiatives, we will try to do as much of this as we can in-house and pursue other funding opportunities as feasible. If the department has year-end funds available, we would like to potentially allocate those funds to the retail market analysis or the Green Streets guidelines efforts. The retail market analysis was last done in 2017, and much has changed to the retail sector over the last 8 years, as you know, especially due to the pandemic. This analysis would measure the health of the county's retail market and identify opportunities for improvement. The Green Streets Guideline would be an update to the Complete Streets Design Guide that would be prepared collaboratively, again, with MCDOT. Green Streets help mitigate the impact of climate change and increase tree canopy, and it's important to ensure our guidance for master plans and development efforts incorporates the state of the practice standards. And as we always do, here is an updated, very hard to read, work program chart. A few of our initiatives have been delayed due to staffing, grant funding delays, extended engagement efforts, and other scheduling conflicts. We've kept council staff abreast of these delays and coordinated with them on scheduling, but I'd be happy to discuss any of the details during the Q&A if desired. I think the fact that it's so tiny kind of suggests we're doing a lot of work, which I think is good. I will now turn it over to my good friend and partner, Mitty Figueredo, to provide the parks update.
Thank you, Jason, and good morning. I am really happy to be here again today to showcase some of the work we've been doing at the Parks Department. And this time, I've also brought along with me some of the staff whose work I'm going to highlight during this presentation. So in our opening slide, you'll be looking at a picture from our pickleball court ribbon cutting at East Norbeck Local Park, which some of you attended. As many of you know, pickleball continues to be incredibly popular among Montgomery County residents of all ages. In fact, my son was home for a couple weeks in March, and he played pickleball almost every single day with his friends. So now I want to take a few minutes to highlight a few of our accomplishments over the past year. I'm going to give it like 1 second for our slides to come up for us to catch up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And also just to let colleagues know, I think everyone knows this, the slides were in the packet.
Yes,
so
indeed.
You can also pull them up there as well.
So I'll go ahead. Oh, it looks like it's okay. We're just about there. And then we're on the second slide. There we go. So our trail crew constructed this past year more than 4 miles of new trails, and 2.5 miles of existing trails were renovated. We opened or renovated more than 30 facilities, including parks, playgrounds, sports courts, and athletic fields, and more than 4,000 trees were planted on parkland to preserve and enhance the county's tree canopy. Our community volunteers also make significant contributions in our parks. Our community gardens program donated almost 5,000 pounds of fresh produce. Volunteers collected almost 150,000 pounds of trash, and our weed warriors freed more than 18,000 trees and shrubs from non-native invasives. Finally, getting people into our parks, being active and social, is at the heart of our mission. Last year, we did 12 surveys over the course of the year that got almost 3,000 responses about our parks projects and programs, including our Gene Lynch Urban Park Art Contest, our Elm Street Urban Park renovation, the Wheaton Regional Park Preliminary Design Survey, and more. We held more than 7,000 different programs in our nature centers, historic sites, and other facilities, and we had more than 135,000 hours of permitted playing time on our fields and courts. And as the chair mentioned earlier, Montgomery County residents really do appreciate what we have to offer. In the county's recently released National Community Survey, which polled Montgomery County residents to assess the county's livability, parks had the highest overall quality rating among county services, and a large majority of residents rated them as very important to their quality of life. And it's because of your ongoing support that we can succeed in this way. Each year we fight for our same level of services budget so that we're able to meet ongoing parks needs, including maintenance and operations of a 100-year-old system, while including a small increase for enhanced programs and services to meet the needs of a growing and very diverse community. In this year's budget, we once again requested a same services budget with a less than 1% increase for program enhancements. In addition to the reduction in our FY26 operating budget request, we also, by the way, received a $2 million CIP cut from the county executive, most of which will hit us in fiscal year 26 and will affect Wheaton Regional Park projects. Today, we're reporting to you on the impact of council-funded initiatives that we received in recent years. We're highlighting the staff we hired, the work they accomplished, and the stories behind their efforts, because as you all know, most of our budget is people and our work is done by people. So you can see in our next slide what our proposed budget has looked like over the last 6 years. I'm going to give it 1 second to catch up. There we go, in the top line. And below that, in orange, you'll see what the county executive has recommended. And finally, the middle line, which will be in green, shows what the council has approved going up to fiscal year 25, which is always the result of hard decisions that you have to make considering all of the significant needs and the limited resources in the county. So I wish I didn't have to make this point quite so explicitly right now, but given what's happening at the federal level, I think it needs to be said out loud. At Montgomery Parks, we believe in public service. We believe that government exists to make people's lives better, and we respect and value all our employees. This is a picture of staff receiving their 5, 10, 15, and 20-year service recognition awards for their time at the commission. We're able to recruit and retain outstanding staff because we have a culture where staff are empowered and encouraged to do their best work in an atmosphere that's supportive and respectful, and I hope it's also fun. With the next series of slides, I'm going to talk about what we've been able to accomplish with the positions and funding we've received over the last few fiscal years so you can see the impact. Over the past 3 years, we've expanded our adaptive programs to ensure that everyone, regardless of ability, can access and enjoy our parks, because we believe that spending time outdoors, engaged in physical activity is really for everyone. In FY22, for example, we received funding to help create inclusive programs like adaptive kayaking and mountain biking. And last year, we served over 130 participants in adaptive recreation programs, and that was up from 0 the previous year when we didn't have that funding. Strategic program enhancements have also allowed our Parks Activation team to expand events and increase community engagement, bringing in record attendance and growing participation in parks across the county. During the last semi-annual, I shared multiple slides on some of our events like Sligo Creek Fest, Acoustics and Ales, the Ale Trail, and our Sunday Serenades. With funding that we received in fiscal years 24 and 25, we hired Joshua Henning, Lester Kugel, and Megan DeMillo on our team. These events are a lot of work. Earlier in March, we hosted our first Acoustics and Ales event of the season, and we had a record number of over 1,300 attendees, and we know that we need more food trucks, and we're working on that. So with a commitment to equity and accessibility, Montgomery Parks has expanded efforts to connect more residents to our trail system. In fiscal year 23, we received funding for our Trails Equity Engagement Program, also known as Roots to Rocks, which offers learn to ride clinics and youth mountain bike rides, and has its own fleet of bikes that they bring to events. And with additional support from the Montgomery Parks Foundation, we developed our Trail Ambassador Program, which gets high school students out on bikes and building trails who otherwise might not have been exposed to this. And enhancing trail connections goes beyond just building the actual paths. It's about creating a seamless, enjoyable, comfortable experience. Our goal is ultimately to create a world-class trail network. With funding that we received in fiscal year 22, we've been investing in essential features like maps, bike parking, fix-it stations. With these amenities, we go a long way towards making sure that all of our trail users really have a great experience. Maintaining high-quality parks is a top priority for us, and court resurfacing is a cost-effective way to revitalize them. A few years ago, we asked for it and we received some more funding for court resurfacing. By the way, I want to add that we use data, including inspections that are performed through our GIS and EAM systems, to determine, and our Community Equity Index, to determine court renovation priority, because we want to be systematic about how and where we make improvements. In addition to the 314 parks fields on parkland, Montgomery Parks has continued renovating MCPS elementary and middle school fields, and then taking over maintenance and making them available for permitting by CUF, which improves our overall ball field quality, but also increases our capacity. In recognition of this, the council has funded several ball fields positions in recent years, and this past year we renovated fields at Brookhaven, Rock Creek Valley, Candlewood, and Sally Ride elementary schools. Our in-house renovation team is also constantly improving the quality of our own parks fields, and we renovated over 12 parks fields over the past year. A 2023 program enhancement allowed us to create the Untold Stories program, which engages diverse communities in telling the stories of people and places connected to parkland throughout the years. Through Untold Stories, our team of historians and archaeologists in our Cultural Resources Stewardship section have developed deep community relationships while uncovering and sharing new stories, such as the first countywide Pride events, which were held on parkland, and celebrating Black baseball sites. We now have a dedicated Untold Stories webpage with dozens of story links and a downloadable map that's been viewed thousands of times, and we're also working on an interactive map as well. Brookside Gardens is one of the Parks Department's most cherished and visited amenities, and keeping the gardens in great shape takes a lot of work, as does engaging our diverse community. And when you visit Brookside Gardens, you can see firsthand how diverse the visitors are. They come from all over the world, and they speak many different languages. In fiscal year 21, we used some seasonal funding to create a new horticulturist position at Brookside Gardens at zero cost. Prior to this, we hadn't had any new positions at Brookside for like 20 years. We hired Heriberto Diaz Galvan. He's here with us today. He's also known as Beto, and he's here with Stephanie Oberle, who is the director of Brookside Gardens. And now, through him, we can offer educational programs in Spanish by a native Spanish speaker, and this is something that we weren't able to do before. 2024 was also an exciting year in our Community Gardens program. We completed our gardener demographic study, which gathered data on who we are serving and how we can improve. Working with our data team, including our GIS and EAM specialists, our Community Gardens team mapped all 14 gardens and 546 plots and included specific features like access to water, compost, and cisterns. And then they used GIS to automate the inspection process, which resulted in a 25% reduction in the time spent performing inspections. Overall, our gardeners told us that 2024 was our best season yet. Our garden plots are still in very high demand. This means that even though we've added more gardens and plots, including accessible garden beds, we still aren't quite keeping up with the demand, and we have a waiting list. So we are working on selecting new sites for community gardens, and we're hoping to add several more over the next few years. Our Community Gardens Assistant Manager, Emma Morrill, is here along with her supervisor, Michelle Nelson, from our Community Gardens program. And Emma was hired with the fiscal year 23 program enhancement. Also here with us today is Adrian Thomas, who you also see pictured here, who we hired a few years ago as a sustainability program analyst when we converted some contract funding. Adrian has had a leading role in making our operations more carbon neutral and sustainable, and since then we've added 5 additional rooftop solar sites, increased our recycling rates, and reduced our energy consumption. Keeping our parks weed-free without pesticides is very labor-intensive, so we're always looking for innovations and alternatives. With fiscal year 22 funding, we now have 2 dedicated park maintenance workers for this program, and they're pictured here using our non-toxic foam stream system to control weeds in our infrastructure. Our customer service staff typically handle 300 to 500 calls a week during the warmer months, with at least 200 written cases coming into us via email. So we hired a new position thanks to some funding you gave us last year. This is Chanel Ainobabin, and we hope to expand our customer service hours to Saturdays starting after Memorial Day, and Chanel's here with us also today. We pride ourselves on data-driven decisions, but to do that, we have to have good data. So our data analytics team helps us track all our assets, what we have and where we have it. What you see here is a collaboration between Tiffany Wu, and she's also here with us today, and some of our operations team, and they're doing a training on how to use a new asset request tool that we developed that will allow staff to directly input data on our 187 different types of park assets. With so much parkland and many, many thousands of individual assets, having an automated way to let park staff enter data themselves is really critical. So we've now mapped over 14,000 assets in GIS across our park system, and the number's growing, and we've had a 500% increase in GIS usage from park staff. This means, of course, that we can spend more time actually making our parks better, improving them, and less time pushing paper around. Just last year, you also approved funding so we could hire an assistant barn manager, Catherine Harasowicz, whose first day is today, and she's here with her supervisor, Captain Lakeisha Robinson. Our park system, like ours, relies on mounted police, and ours are something we're really proud of them. And our park police, our mounted police, can't function if they don't have a healthy and well cared for herd, and you see one of our happy herd members there in that picture. Our internship program is a recruiting tool for us. With about a quarter of our workforce retirement eligible over the next few years, it's really critical that we hire a diverse workforce with the skills that we're going to need for the future. And we have actually a long history of doing this. 3 of our current 11 division chiefs, Holly Thomas from Horticulture, Forestry, and Environmental Education, Mike Little from Northern Parks, and Shuchi Vera from our Management Services Division, all started out as interns. Since expanding this program in fiscal year 21, we've hired and paid 21 interns, and we hope that some of them will eventually come back to work for us. Over the last few years, I think you've seen how hard we work to find other sources of funding to supplement our capital budget. But we've done this with existing staff who have other job duties and functions and work programs, and actually getting our hands on the money, even after it's been awarded to us, is an incredible amount of administrative work. So with funding we received last year, we hired Denise Guitarra to manage our grants, and she's already hit the ground running. Multiple surveys have told us that trails are among the most important amenities in our parks. Hard surface trails aren't just recreational, they connect communities and parks. We recently hired Laura Barna as our hard surface trails manager, and thanks to a number of trails grants we've received in recent years to renovate some of our 80 miles of hard surface trails, we're keeping Laura extremely busy. Some of our active projects include building trail connections to and in Wheaton Regional Park with our Safe Streets for All grant, renovating the Sligo Creek Trail with our RAISE grant, Purple Line crossings at Wayne and Sligo, and building a side path on Veers Mill that's next to the county's bus rapid transit project. And as you know, environmental stewardship is at the very heart of our mission. We just hired Ian Rodway and our park development team to provide more planning and design expertise for stream restoration and other water quality related projects, because increasing our in-house capacity also increases our efficiency. I hope that what I've shared with you demonstrates how we use our funding to expand popular programs, improve our parks, and deliver on our commitment to you and our park users to maintain a high quality and accessible park system for everyone. So now I'm just going to take a couple minutes to talk about our upcoming ribbon cuttings and openings and run through a few events. You can see some of our upcoming ribbon cuttings here, and you can also receive more information on those from us, because we're happy to have you attend as many or all of these as possible. Our Acoustics and Ales event is coming up. Our next one is coming up on April 4th at Elm Street Urban Park, and then on May 22nd at Flower Avenue. Our second Sligo Creek Fest this year is on May 3rd. Thank you again for funding our ongoing ability to have this program every year. Pride in the Park is in June. Mudfest, ever popular Mudfest, on June 14th. And we're going to have multiple Shakespeare in the Park dates all summer across the county. And then this Friday is our Wheaton Carousel ribbon cutting. It's at 4 p.m. We're going to have some free carousel rides, and we hope that all of you will be able to attend if your calendar allows. And now, thank you, and I will hand this back over to Artie to close us out, and we'll be ready for any questions you might have.
Yeah, thank you, Director Figueredo, and thank you again, council members. My colleagues have shared the value and importance of the work we do. I strongly believe that our team's work is a vital investment during these uncertain times. The land use projects and programs we advance today will pay dividends to our residents for generations to come, allowing our county to remain a highly desired destination. So thank you again, and we welcome your questions. But before I take your questions, I'd like to thank my Vice Chair, Mitra Pedoim, for attending today. I so appreciate her decades of service and work in the county and at the commission, and she brings such a breadth of experience to the board. So thank you, and we love to take your questions.
Great. Thank you, Chair Harris, and thank you for that great overview and presentation. I just had a few questions, and then I'm going to turn it over to Council Member Friedson, Chair of PHP. First, for the Planning Department, the Community Planning Academy, I'm glad to see it has moved forward, and to hear 200 people are already interested in it, and we have slots for the 50 people moving forward. One of the things, and I think Director Story, you and I have talked about this, that once you get the pilot off the ground and you all are in a good place, I think this would also be an excellent resource for our staff in our offices, as them learning about the planning process, and I would be a very useful resource. So looking forward to hearing more about that, and doing more of a one-on-one with you and the department to learn more about that. Thank you for the update on the federal employees. I will just note that one of the reasons many of us are a bit distracted this morning is that today there are lines outside of FDA and our Health Resources Services Administration here in Rockville, where people are literally learning they no longer have a job because their badge doesn't work when they try to go through the turnstile. And so that happened as people were getting to work this morning and we began our session. And so I appreciate that all facets of our Montgomery County government, including our planning department, is keeping track of this, looking at it, and thinking about the implications as we plan for the future. So thank you for that, and thank you to the department. I also want to say, turning to parks, thanks for turning out the Parks Department. It's wonderful to see folks. It's great always to hear about the work you're doing, but then to also see the folks who are doing that work is terrific. So we appreciate you taking the time this morning. And I will just lift up the South Silver Spring Urban Park and the fact that I think it was last week a naming contest went out. There are 3 names that are potential for that park that folks can get on the website and vote for. And I just want to say we're all very excited. The urban parks that have come up in particularly the downtown Silver Spring area have really added a great deal, as that community in particular has been really just impacted by Purple Line and a number of other things. These urban parks really provide a respite for members of the community. So just want to say thank you and lift that up. With that, I will now turn it over to Councilmember Friedson.
Well, thank you, Madam President. Thank you to the Planning Board Chair and Vice Chair for all of your work. And thanks most importantly, I just wanted to really take most of my time to thank the team and the staff who work incredibly hard. It's a time when public servants, as we just heard from the Council President, are getting beaten up for their interest in serving the community and serving the county and the country. And I think we can't do it enough to thank those who choose to serve our community, serve our county, and enter into public service. It's sometimes a thankless job. Sometimes either collectively or directly, you get criticized and vilified for the work you do. I will suggest you not hop on Twitter or Nextdoor today and just take this gratitude that you're going to hear from myself and from colleagues, because it can be a challenging time and a challenging moment. But we have an incredible team of public servants that help us in the Park and Planning Commission, and a lot of folks who are here today who work incredibly hard. And I just want to thank you for your work and for your talent and for your efforts and for choosing public service, which is a choice that you make where you could do other things and probably make more money and probably have less stress and probably go off and do different things. So thank you for that. I did just want to highlight there are a lot of projects and individual aspects that I could go into. I'm not going to do that for the interest of time, but obviously both presentations reflect all of the work that is happening, which is significant. I did want to just highlight again the Planning Academy. This is something that was a significant conversation during last year's budget at committee and at the full council, something I feel very strongly about, and just wanted to thank Director Sartori in particular for his leadership in advancing that and really moving that forward. And I'm really excited to hear, what was news to me is the interest in it. I knew that it was launching. I had gotten that part of the update. What I hadn't heard was the level of interest that there is, and it just shows how important this program is, not just for the community itself, but for those who will directly benefit from it. I think it's a win for the department. I think it's a win for the county, and I think it's a significant win for those who will be fortunate enough to participate in it. And I think it's an example of how we answer the question of how we're doing intentional planning and land use policy decisions that have huge impacts. How are we doing that with the type of intentionality that it requires? And it's not the only part of that equation, but it's a key part of that equation. I really appreciate that. And then with parks, there's lots of exciting things that are happening. I was excited to be at that pickleball game. I won't tell you the outcome of the game that Council Vice President Joando and I participated in. I will say that it probably was more my partner than me, but it was just one example that demonstrates it. And I love the fact that you mentioned the personal connection with your son, because we think of pickleball and we have talked about it oftentimes as an older adult activity, but pickleball is the fastest growing game that we're seeing, and it is for all ages, for all communities, and for all people. And I think it's just another example of providing new amenities to help support our growing and diverse community. That's true with cricket. That's true with pickleball. There's the cultural dynamics of reflecting a community that's 1/3 foreign born, It's also about the age demographics, and I just think it's really, really important to note that. I could go on and on about some of the other ones, but I did want to ask a specific question, an update. If you just give an update on Little Falls Parkway and where that stands. There was a lot of conversation at this council on that. There's a lot of questions of all the things that have happened here and the public decisions that were made and where that stands. If you could just give us an update on that.
Yeah, we're hoping to begin construction on the actual work soon, later this spring. We've been engaged in permitting, and then, of course, over the winter, we're not able to do the actual work because of the temperature and weather issues. So later this spring, we'll be implementing the plan that the council approved, I think it was a year ago. If you recall, after that, we had to go to get NCPC approval. We had to go through that process, and we had to complete design and go through the permitting process. But we will be beginning construction soon.
Do you have a sense of when the work will be completed?
I do know that, but I don't want to say without being quite certain, so I can confirm that and let you know.
If you could follow up and confirm
Absolutely.
that would be appreciated. We're hearing about it a lot, as you could imagine, where there are questions, understandably, of, why do processes like these take so long? I know there was a lot of approvals and there's weather-related dynamics, but there is
we've been moving with
interest.
all deliberate speed. We would like to get this project completed as well.
I appreciate it. So please share that with us. We'll also share with our state delegation who's been asking about it as well, which we very much appreciated. All right, I will just, I started with the staff. I want to close with the volunteers. They were highlighted here, but we have one of the best trail networks anywhere in the country. We have some amazing amenities. None of that happens and none of that is possible without the incredible volunteers that we have. Many of us have been out many times for trash pickups and for weed warrior activities, and for even me with helping to fix trails. Admittedly, they were refixed after I thought I fixed them, but I do just want to note that and appreciate that our parks in particular have been just a huge lifeline for health, for wellness, for mental health. It has been the main focus of the council president this year. But none of those amenities are what they are without the volunteers that make them possible, that leverage our great staff, which we don't have enough of to possibly keep up with the demand. So I just want to note that we can't thank them enough. We have an amazing community, and the parks and the partnership that Parks represents with those volunteers really are what make it work. So thank you for your work and your efforts, and I will yield back to you, Madam President.
Thank you. Council Vice President Joando.
Thank you. I want to echo the thanks. I noticed some new faces and familiar faces. I scribbled a couple names down: Tiffany, Emma, Michelle, Chanel, Adrian. There's a few others. Hello to everybody. Good to see you. Thank you for all the work that you do on the Parks team, and thank you to the planning team. From faces I see a lot at PHP as well. Just a couple of updates or questions on your updates. Start with planning. I wanted to first say, as you probably know, I'm excited about the development pipeline work. We talked about it in the committee, going back to even old PHP committee or Fed committee about the development pipeline. And as you know, I've been working on legislation around this, but want to make sure I benefit and we all benefit from the great information that you guys are going to get with the survey, and what are the appropriate incentives and to make sure, either carrot or stick, that we are getting development done, and what the impediments to that are. So really look forward to working with you on that, and glad that that's going to move forward. You mentioned also the Strathmore Square project. I just wanted to bring that up. That was result from the WMATA pilot, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you have a sense? And some of this you may not know, but since you brought it up, I wanted to. What were the units? You said there was 15%. I thought it was higher affordability there.
I think that what I was referring to was the actual, the building that's been built today, and I know that there are still more to come. I know there's some senior housing. I think that might have more affordability in that one. So there,
I thought it was around 25% for the whole project. Maybe they achieved 15 in that, just in that one.
Yeah, in the building that was built, it's the Ravel Royale has 220 units, and 15% of those are MPDUs.
220 units. Okay. I just will note, we're gonna have a talk about the effectiveness of this type of pilot. Obviously, WMATA, that was a debate in last council. Some of these units are going, rents are over $11,000. And so I think having a good understanding of what the breakdown is and how that's going to move forward, I'd like to have a bet, since I think this is one of the first project that moved forward in that pilot. I think it's going to be important to understand that. Also appreciate the work you guys have done on the Planning Academy. I think that I want to emphasize that. That's really exciting. I know my office is eager to participate. So you said 200 and some so far?
Yeah, and we still have over a month of time for people to express an interest. And so I think, if I could real quickly, I think that it kind of underscores the importance that we had in creating a system, a program that was open to as many people as possible. So if there are programs like this that you register 30 people for the year, and that's it. We knew we have people in Montgomery County who want to be engaged and want to be effective in their engagement. And so seeing that amount of interest already is a really positive sign about our decision to go in the path that we have, that this is going to be open to everyone once we get past that first cohort, make some tweaks to it, that people will be able to participate to whatever extent they want to, half of it, all of it, right, at their own pace, but be able to get something valuable about how we do the work that we do in the county, not just planning, but DPS and with the council and all of that. I think it's great that we've got that much interest in it.
Agreed, and I think the ability to do some of it online and in person and the different options is going to be really important. So thank you for all of that. To Parks, thank you. I was going to ask about Little Falls, but you already answered it. So we all are feeling the heat on that one.
Actually, can I?
Please.
Hot off the presses, our crack park development team is answering questions so it's going to take about 4 to 6 weeks, and we think probably early summer for a start. Okay. So let's hope midsummer it will be completed.
I almost feel like we should have a walk or trip, go out there and celebrate that it's done.
You can join me. I walk it almost every weekend. So,
but thank you. Okay, 4 to 6 weeks once you get started, late spring. Got it. So hopefully by summer. Beach Drive. I've heard feedback regarding requests to reopen on Fridays because NIH has returned those who haven't been fired, unfortunately, but those who are returning, being asked to return to work since March. Is there where is that? Where are we considering that? Realizing there's increased traffic there.
So when the planning board approved the current plan for Beach Drive, which was a shorter extent of the open parkway, but adding back in the Fridays, one of the things that the planning board asked us to do was to come back in a year and report back to them on how it's going and what the traffic is looking like. And we are, of course, aware of the back to work requirement for federal workers. And so we are doing traffic counts and monitoring, and we will be reporting back. And we will, if changes look like they're needed, we will, of course, evaluate that and make recommendations to the board accordingly.
Got it. And do you have a sense of timeline on when you'll be done with that process?
I think we said by the end of the year we would be coming back to the board, but we're evaluating now. So we are doing traffic counts periodically, and when we get them in, we assess what the last time we did the traffic counts, we hadn't seen a change, but it might be this next round might look different.
Right. Yeah, especially since those changes were March. So
right.
Great. Okay. You keep us posted on that. I appreciate that. And last, I'll just mention, I know my council president will appreciate this. The Sligo Creek, we've heard some feedback, and we've been working with her office that's on the snow removal issue on the sidewalks along Sligo Creek Parkway, and kids going to school and other things. And I just want to, even though it's warm now, I just think it's a good time to plan ahead, as we did get hit pretty hard this year, more than others. And just wanted to mention that because we heard from several very motivated folks. But I know you're working hard. We never, but that's just, I just wanted to make sure I mentioned it. Council President?
Nope, you done?
I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. And I just want to say on that, for the folks who do work on Sligo, I very much appreciate all the trimming that gets done at certain times of the year as a runner. I'm always see you all out there, and I appreciate when I'm not running into branches. So thank you. Councilmember Albanaz.
Thank you, guys, and sorry again I can't be there in person. Not feeling well today. And Director Harris, I want to just open by appreciating your real and raw and candid comments regarding your FY26 operating budget challenges. Obviously, this is not the appropriate forum for us to go in depth in those challenges, but it's more than appropriate for you to uplift and elevate the challenges that budget proposes to your respective agencies. And we will do our best, as we always do, and go through the planning process, or the budget process, excuse me. But I just wanted to express my appreciation to you for your honesty and openness about that.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
A couple of just general comments, thoughts, and then a couple of questions. The first is, and we've talked about this for several years now, but with our colleagues and friends in parks, you can draw a straight line between the great programs and services and amenities and facilities and parks that they provide and improved overall behavioral health and wellness in our community, which continues to be, as recently as just a year ago in the public health survey, the #1 issue of concern from a public health standpoint among our residents. And I once again commend our council president publicly for selecting behavioral health as her policy priority during her presidentship this year. And I would encourage you, Ms. Figueredo, I know that you are close to Ms. Martin and our behavioral health team in HHS, but under Council President Stewart's leadership, I think there's going to be even more wonderful collaboration opportunities moving forward. And I would just encourage you to proactively reach out to Ms. Martin and her team to see which different committees or project initiatives that parks can be a part of, because we're going to once again need to collectively work together to holistically address the needs of our residents. And just a point of privilege, the reductions that I'm just shocked with the reductions that Council President Stewart was talking about today, and again within our federal framework. Just as Chair of Health and Human Services, it is catastrophic. The types of reductions that we're seeing to our health agencies at a national level. Obviously, we're going to have to process all of that, but that will mean once again that we're going to have to pick up the slack and the burden in too many ways to count or to be able to understand at the moment. So it's just hard to concentrate on these conversations when something that dramatic is going on at the same time. But obviously, we're going to have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. But thank you again, Ms. Figueredo, for your tremendous leadership. I look forward to meeting the new members of your team in person, and I just want to extend my deepest appreciation and respect for your all's work. Mr. Santori, thank you so much. Just on a lighter note, our Terps are looking for an athletic director and basketball coach, and so we want you here. We want you to stay here. Don't want you to apply for either one of those positions, but
I appreciate that we have something lighter to commiserate over.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But I'm very excited about the pipeline project, which obviously is so critical right now. There's a lot of misinformation. There's conspiracy theories that are out there. Can you talk a little bit more about the timeline for that project, when you anticipate it being completed, and then can you expand a little bit on, obviously we need to look in the mirror, but we also need to look out the window, how we're going to incorporate data and analysis of our neighboring jurisdictions in the analysis of that work.
Sure. So there's primarily two components to the work that we're doing. One is a very data intensive, trying to dig into the numbers in the actual development pipeline so that we understand it better. And that is a lot of work that we've got one team doing. Then we've got another team that's focused on the having the conversations with the applicants, the developers who have these approvals. And so that is kind of going on concurrently. So our expectation is that we'll have this completed within the next 5 months. And that'll give us an opportunity to kind of wrap it up into a report that we can present to the board and to the council so that you are aware of, what we have on that. In terms of engaging our neighboring jurisdictions, we hadn't given any thought on that or just even looking at their data to the extent that we can, but that's something that we can try to take a look at to see how because I think that does play into, how things may move forward. And some of that may even come out in some of the conversations we have with some of the applicants too. But if we can have a better understanding of the environment or the circumstances that may be better or worse in some of the neighboring jurisdictions, it could give us some insight to the appropriate solutions.
That would be great. I know it's apples and oranges, but we need to be dealing in facts when discussing this really important issue, and take emotion out of it. And so that's why I think we have to use this time and space to look at this holistically. And so I would just encourage, as part of the project, that you all to do that and incorporate that in your findings in some way, because you are our subject matter experts. You are here to advise our body on these really important issues. And if we have to make adjustments in any direction, we need to be ready to do that, but they're going to be based on your all's recommendations. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. And my last sort of thought for now, and this is just a general comment, and I'm stating the obvious, but my goodness, the world is changing every 5 minutes. And so all of those projects that are currently underway or that are in the queue or through your timeline are going to be impacted in one way or another with all of the changes that are happening so rapidly at the federal level. And so I know we have to give you all grace and a little bit longer of a runway than usual, I think, because projects that may have been initiated 6 months ago, we're going to have to look at all over again and take into account real-time information that's on the ground. So it's a general comment, not expecting you to respond to it. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but thank you all again, and I yield back to you, Madam President.
Can I just one thing, Councilmember Albanese, we, part of me convening board chairs around the areas to create that regionalism, to get regional collaboration and cooperation. And so we started that in January, and we're going to meet quarterly. And part of that is to talk to other jurisdictions, the chairs, about how are they dealing with these same problems or issues. And so that collaboration, which should, as you talked about, how are other jurisdictions doing, we'll be talking to them. By getting a better relationship, it's easier to get that information. So that's one of the things we're all about, collaboration and regionalism here. So thank you for bringing that up.
Thanks, Director Harris.
Thank you. Councilmember Balcom.
Great, thank you. So I just want to, first, I'll be brief, but I want to say thank you to not only to both directors, but to the staff. We've appreciate the partnership that we have between the council and both departments, but really it's the relationships that your staff have with our staff. We've always had just immediate service whenever somebody from my office calls your office. So I just so appreciate that. So I wanted to mention that. And then from the planning perspective, we have 3 master plans in my area going hot and heavy with the Clarksburg, the Gateway Center, the Clarksburg plan, the Germantown plan that's ready to kick off. And then we're really looking forward to seeing the master plan of highways and transitways that deeply impact my area. So appreciate that. And I'm very interested in the pipeline assessment. That's just been a big topic of discussion. And I think that not only will it answer questions for the community, but it will identify really specific areas where if there are obstacles that are that we can get rid of, we need to look at that very deeply as well, because we hear that a lot in terms of it's so hard to get a project done, and I would guess that a lot of that pipeline is just financial. The project won't work financially, but if it is issues of the process, I think it's really important to look at. I'm looking forward to that. I agree with my colleagues on the Planning Academy. Agree with Council President Stewart about our staff being able to look at that. I would have loved to have done it 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and I'm sure I would still learn new information. So I love this idea, and I think it's great. And then just from the parks perspective, and we've heard this several times, parks are just so necessary in our community, and we should be very proud of the system that we have. I know we all are, and especially now from the perspective of it's not only physical, but the mental health of our community is so very important, specifically for our seniors and our youth. We're talking all the time about how we need more activities for our young people, for our students, and we need more, not less. And so we've heard you loud and clear, and I appreciate that. Community gardens, I think, are fantastic. I want to do more and more and more of that in every space we possibly can. And also the rooftop solar. I would like to have an offline conversation about parking lot solar. I think that we can do a lot more countywide. And so would like to have that conversation for Parks to be a partner in that. I think it's important. And I've already put Mudfest on my calendar. That is so up my alley, and I'm so happy to do it. And so I look forward to that. So thanks.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez.
Thank you. I'll be joining you with a Mudfest. Couple of things. Again, thank you so much for all your work. And yes, I'm gonna say something that Councilmember Balkan said. Thank you to your staff, because I'm one of those council members that call you guys a lot. And I thank you for your partnership. Two things on the parks side. Yes, I'll be there on Friday for the carousel in Wheaton. And on the issue with the community gardens and the GIS, the mapping and all that work, as you may know, and actually parks have been a great ally as well for me, I'm working on 3 urban gardens in my district in connection with MCPS, and another one in connection with the county land. And right now I'm in the situation that we want to map all the urban gardens, not just in my district, but countywide. So as you're doing that work, if we can perhaps meet and partner up with the Office of Food Systems Resilience, because I do a lot of work with them with urban gardens, but also MCPS. I have 2 urban gardens on NCPS land, the one in Kent Mill Elementary School that you guys attended and helped me with borrowing your tools, and the one with Mary Lotherman Middle School. So maybe we can have one centralized big map for everybody. Otherwise, it gets confusing for people. So that's one that we can follow up. 2, with the planning department, you mentioned, and we're going to talk about it when we have our meeting with on the budget, which I think is pretty soon. The retail study that you guys want to take on. As you may know, maybe you don't know, but as you may know, the Economic Development Committee is going to be doing retail study work sessions starting this fall. And just like we did with the office market, which landed us with a bill in the ZTA that you guys know about. And I worked, and you guys were a big ally, big help for me for the office market. It's going to be the same deal with the retail work. So we're going to have to have a meeting and see where the resources are going to come from as we deal with the budget. But we need to have a clear understanding before we dig into this during the budget, so know that. And then the last thing I'll say, pickleball. I have my little notes. Pickleball. My kids are playing pickleball in MCPS in middle school. They're teaching kids to play pickleball. So they had the pickleball session like a few weeks ago. So that was awesome. And then, so I just wanted to say that. And then the last thing, I want to give a shout out to Don from the Parks Department, because they're members of the Sports Industry Task Force that this council put together a few months ago, and we're meeting every month, and Parks Department has been amazing, and also with planning, because they did help us with the GIS the other day, and we have interns from Montgomery College, and they're all paid, by the way. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Councilmember Sales.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to Parks and Planning for the updates, particularly the positions to diversify experiences within our parks, and your commitment to highlighting the historical significance of activities that go on in our parks with the Untold Stories initiative. We've heard a lot about the pipeline during our discussions regarding zoning reforms. Knowing what is approved is always helpful as we plan for future development of the community, especially with over 76,000 residents potentially impacted by federal job cuts, new graduates, and couples wanting to start and grow their families here. I've received many emails regarding the proposed More Housing Now legislation and fears of gentrification due to the limited amount of affordable housing these projects will yield for our ever-growing affordable housing wait list, which is nearing over 40,000. What portion of our current pipeline of master plan projects would account for the affordable level? And do you have any specific numbers at what percentages? I've seen upwards of 80% in this specific area of area median income. So do we have hard numbers at the 80%, 60, and 30% AMI, or the varying AMI levels?
Of the what's in the pipeline?
Of what's in our master plan pipeline before this legislation.
So what's in the approved development pipeline, I don't have an answer to that. Okay. It would depend on where the project was approved, how the project was approved, and when it was approved, and what the requirements were, whether, they were large enough to require MPDUs, and then, the MPDU law has changed over time, so some of those are much older, and so they fell under different requirements when they were approved. It is something we may be able to look into. It might be kind of difficult to get into all of that. In terms of our master plans and what we have there, with each master plan, we bring, considerations to what percentage of MPDUs we should be requiring. Yeah. In a lot of our master plans recently, we've been increasing that to the 15%. Mm-hmm. We've seen even higher, 17.5%. Yes. So it's something that we think about with each master plan effort.
Yes, we're thinking about it as well, and if we can have that information to better understand future recommendations on our housing needs or legislation related to development and the percentage of affordable housing. Okay. I had another question regarding the projects and permitting process for projects that have not been built. Has planning reached out to any of our developers to gain a better understanding of some of the common reasons for a stalled project? And are there any unique features in certain parts of the county? A team at planning, I know, may review applicants who are facing delays, but just wanted to better understand that process.
Sure, it really hits at the heart of what we're trying to do with that pipeline analysis.
Okay.
So I mentioned the two components, the one being the data analysis, the other being the conversations with the applicants, the developers who have their approvals. It starts with a survey that we're asking to try to get some baseline information, and then follow-up interviews with. We're trying to hit all of the ones. A lot of these are, you might have a developer who has several approvals, and so we can have, we don't need to have 278 conversations, but we're trying to talk to as many as possible to understand the specific circumstances around why each project is not moving forward.
Okay. And when would that project or analysis be ready for?
We're hoping in 5 months.
5 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And now to Ms. Figueroa. Thank you to your department for the presentation, specifically the funding portions. Regarding the upcoming budget challenges, if you can share some of the services that may be subject to cuts, if the department is funded at a 3.2% increase rather than the requested 7.2%.
Well, absolutely. And during the budget process, as we go to the Planning, Housing, and Parks Committee, and ultimately the council, will be addressing that in detail. But the current recommended budget from the county executive that gave us only a 3.2% increase, that increase over our last year's approved budget doesn't cover our increases in compensation, our expected increases in compensation for our employees. So what that means is not only, can we not add any new program enhancements, and I shared with you today what some of those in past years, what they've resulted in and what we've been able to do for the community with those programs. Not only would we not be able to do those, but then we're looking at either some combination of increasing fees, staff reductions, program cuts, reductions in maintenance, so less grass cutting, fewer bathrooms, a lot of things that directly impact park users would have to be eliminated or reduced because we're just, we're now in the hole. And obviously we'll be sharing more information about that with all of you as we move through the budget process.
Thank you for sharing that. Look forward to learning more about those impacts. As we've mentioned, our parks, similarly during the pandemic and the last government shutdown, became a place of refuge for our residents, and we don't want the quality or experience diminished because of budget cuts. So thank you for sharing that. I want to also share that I am particularly heartened by the emphasis and inclusion of more youth in our parks, especially in beautifying our parks. I joined Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez yesterday at an elementary school in Rockville with the Department of Environmental Protection to kick off Earth Month. The green shirts were there on their day off from school. They could have been home or on their, tech devices, but they were outside rolling up their sleeves, building benches, painting murals in the community. And so I'm just excited that we're also investing in the workforce pipeline through internships. And of course, trail maintenance is so important for safe and active enjoyment of our outdoors. The food delivery program through the community gardens, the increased community interest. We had a park open in the city of Gaithersburg. All of the plots for the community gardens were spoken for, so I'm glad that we are looking at more sites to increase access, and the Grown at Pope program to bring more fresh produce to our residents. All exciting initiatives, and always good to hear about the updates happening with Parks and Planning, so thank you.
Great. Thank you. I just want to note a time check. We do need to wrap up because we do have a lunch with MCREA this afternoon, but I do have 3 colleagues in the queue, and we have our consent calendar after this. I have Councilmember Glass.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for the presentation, Chair Harris. Your agency, your commission, and the 2 departments, the work is probably more important now than ever. And Director Figueredo, picking up on the theme that others have shared, we love our parks. It's not only exemplified in our surveys and in public polling, but we see the joy that people have when they're outside. Now more than ever, being outside is necessary for mental and physical health. It is cathartic. Nature is healing, and we all need a lot of healing these days. So thank you, and thank you to all of your staff who are here and in doing the work in the community. And Mr. Sartori, Director Sartori, we are in a housing crisis. Residents cannot afford to live in Montgomery County, and the work that you and your staff are doing is critically important. I'll say you might not always have the perfect solution, but you're working towards them. And that is what the process we all work in is towards, figuring out how we best solve the solution, find a solution for the problem that is before us. And it is a collaborative effort. It is you, the planning board, planning staff, the council, our staff, and ultimately the community that help figure this out. I want to pick up on a question that has been asked in various ways, but it was based on a statement you said about the pipeline. You said, if I understood it correctly, that the pipeline does not provide for sufficient housing as we need it. Can you expand upon that?
Sure. I said basically that the pipeline alone cannot solve our crisis, our housing crisis. And in particular, in meeting the needs, the diverse needs of that we have as a county, especially when I mentioned that 88% of what's in the pipeline are rental apartments. And we need more than just apartments. And so that's one of the things, and one of the things we have in our budget request is the housing needs assessment. We did that prior to Thrive. It gives us a better sense of going forward, where are our needs in terms of owner versus rental at different price points. We've talked a lot about how we're growing at the low income level and we're growing at the high income level, but we're losing population at the middle income level. So going a little bit deeper into all of that and the types of housing that we need to be able to meet all of our needs. And that the pipeline itself, as it exists today, not just in the numbers, but also in the content of that, the types of units aren't going to meet the needs that we have as a county.
Okay. Preview for many, many more conversations we'll have in this chamber. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Mink.
Thank you. This is obviously not the time that we want to be losing our valued public servants, and thank you to everybody who's in the room here with us, and thank you to everybody who was watching, because they are hard at work from their offices. Our parks are the great equalizers. We know that federally, where there are efforts to trash our national parks, that it is obviously not about finding any savings, because those are huge moneymakers, which begs the question, why? And the answer to that question is exactly why we need to keep our park system strong here in Montgomery County. So thank you to everybody who was working to do that, and we are behind you in that. And I will note that with all of the destruction that is going on and continuing to unfold even today to a range of departments, as it turns out, FDA, NIH, Centers for Medicaid and Medicare, the health situation on the ground is going to be getting worse, unfortunately, not better, it seems. Obviously, we're going to work to curtail that as much as possible at the state level, at the county level, and to push back against the rifts or attempted rifts that are happening now. But we saw the value of those open spaces during COVID, and they're not going to become less important in that realm either. So thank you all very much. And if anybody who is being riffed from those places today wants to come out, my staff in the offices of Jamie Raskin and Senator Van Hollen are at the East County Community Rec Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to say something, Ms.?
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to go back to Councilmember Jawando's question. We last did traffic counts this past week on Beach Drive, and the timing for coming to the planning board is this summer. So prior to that, we had done the counts in January. Obviously, in January, you know, we're not going to see a big change. So I think this last week, that's going to be sort of important information for us, and we will be bringing that to the board this summer.
Thank you so much. That's even better than the end of the year.
Great. Councilmember Katz.
Thank you very much, Council President. I will try to be the most brief of all here today. As I've mentioned, first off, thank you all for everything you do in the entire room. I mentioned to Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez, I don't believe there's anybody left in Wheaton as we speak. You certainly have a room full, and we're very pleased that everyone is here. As I've mentioned several times, the least directly district that is that's directly impacted by you all is a third district. Gaithersburg, Rockville, Washington Grove had their own planning and zoning. But as is no secret, that's only to the borders. You all obviously go much beyond the borders, and what's in the borders affects you as well. But I do want to emphasize that perhaps the most important part of economic development is planning. And we need to continue to work hand in glove with the economic development groups to get us to a better place. If it's because of the economy itself, that you all can't really solve. But if it's because of the planning, if it's because of the anything beyond that, we need to sit down and have groups that actually don't silo, but actually combine each other together. So I know you're working on that. I feel comfortable that you'll continue to work on that. But in this day and age, any day and age, it's been bad. This day and age, it's been horrible. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Katz. I'm not seeing any other council members who wish to speak at this time. Again, we want to thank you for coming for the semi-annual update. We appreciate all of the work that you're doing. Thank you again to everyone who is here, everyone who is watching. As I think all of us have said up here, you are all so very valued for us here in Montgomery County and working for the county, and we just very much appreciate all the hard work and look forward to continuing the collaboration. And I know you'll be back to dig into the budget, and we will roll up our sleeves, and I promise you we will work in partnership with you, because we have some tough decisions to make ahead of us over the next 2 months, and we really look forward to working with you as we figure this out for our entire community. So thank you, everyone, for coming today. Next, item 4 is our consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved. Second.
Councilmember Balcom moved. Councilmember Sales second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that is all of us. Yes, the council will now move in a bit to the Capitol Crescent Trail Conference Room on the 4th floor for a lunch meeting with the Montgomery County Retired Employees Association. This meeting, I think, is expected to begin at 12:30, so you have a little time. And we will return to the council hearing for our televised meeting that begins at 1:30. Thank you all.
Que es importante como un gobierno que nos dedicamos a dar el apoyo que necesita la comunidad.